Welcome to our 5-day sneak peek into coaching. I'm so excited to kick off the week with you guys. Throughout the week, you're going to hear a little bit from us coaches, a little bit about how we got into coaching, how we started our journey, how that led us into coaching, and kind of how it's changed our lives. And we'll be sprinkling those stories in with some information about coaching, about what we do on a daily basis, how we earn money, the type of discounts we get, a little bit of information about our specific team, Fearlessly Fit, and then also a little information about the trainings we have available and some common hesitations that we hear from new coaches and people who are interested in coaching. So I'm super excited to kick this off. I wanted to start it off by sharing a little bit about my story. For those of you guys who don't know me, my name is Jess Dukes. I have been a coach for a little over 4.5 years. My journey starts a year before I found coaching though. I found myself at 24 years old. 215 pounds. I had never struggled with my weight until I graduated from college. My lifestyle went from, going to the gym, walking to and from classes, honestly not eating a ton because I was so focused on my studies and being social, and then graduating and getting that full-time job, sitting on my butt all day in corporate America, working as a financial analyst, and my lifestyle completely changed. I started prioritizing happy hours and going out with coworkers over actually staying healthy. And so within about a year or two, I found myself gaining a lot of weight, probably 80 pounds, and finding myself at 215 pounds. And I honestly didn't even recognize myself. And it wasn't until there was one day, it was September 28th. I still remember the exact day. And my boss invited me to a work conference, and I was dragging my feet. It was downtown. I do not like driving downtown. The one-way streets freak me out. But I couldn't figure out an excuse of how to get out of it. So I ended up going, and it was the author of Your Best Year Yet, I believe, that was speaking to us about how to create like joy and harmony in your life. And she made us write down our top accomplishments for the year. It was 2012, and our top disappointments. And I was by far the youngest one at the table, and by far had the opposite. I thought of 15 disappointments and you only needed 10, so I was an overachiever there. And then I couldn't think of any accomplishments, and I ended up thinking of a couple, but they weren't really accomplishments. And I found as I was sitting at the table, we had to share them with everyone, which was absolutely mortifying to me. Everyone else had so much that they were proud of. They were running marathons, they were getting awards at work and getting promotions, having kids, getting married. And I felt like, man, I'm sitting here probably 10 years younger than most of these people, and I haven't done anything with myself, and I've kind of let myself go. And I went home that night and I realized a lot of my disappointments in life stemmed from the fact that I felt like my weight held me back. I didn't want to be seen. I didn't want to do anything because of my weight. And it was that night I decided to make a change. I did not get started with Beachbody like a lot of these other coaches did that you'll hear later on this week, but I actually got started in the gym, and I slowly started getting fit, slowly started changing my eating habits. And, we always talk about like there's a pregnancy glow. I really think that there's a weight loss glow too. And I found myself carrying myself a little higher, bringing my shoulders back, wanting to talk to people, having the confidence to speak up in meetings at work. And people started noticing and saying, "Hey Jess, you look amazing. What are you doing?" And I found I couldn't tell people what I was doing. I was doing a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and it wasn't duplicatable at all. And about a year in my journey, I was about 3 weeks away from getting married to my husband, and we were living paycheck to paycheck, and I saw this girl on Instagram that was holding up these rank advancement things, talking about how she turned her passion of health and fitness, she had lost about 50 pounds too, into a business. And she was, being able to create her own schedule. She was able to stay home with her kids, like all this stuff. And I was like, oh, like that sounds like almost too good to be true. So I left my email in the comments, and she quickly emailed me. We chatted back and forth for a few hours, and I signed up that day, and I haven't ever looked back. I was nervous, but I honestly looked at kind of what I had to lose. The cost of coaching wasn't a lot, and we'll be talking about that tomorrow. But I figured, if worse comes to worse, I could quit. I didn't have to do this if I didn't want to. I didn't have a lot of skin in the game, essentially. So I didn't have a lot to lose if it didn't work out. So I said, I'm a pretty black or white person. I said, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to go all in with it. And so I took it, and she put me in a new coach training. She invited me into her team page on Facebook, and instantly I was welcomed in with so many of these girls welcoming me in. And I've never really had a lot of girlfriends. So that was really exciting for me to see I have this fitness community now, like people who get me. So on Friday nights when I want to work out and I don't want to go to the bar, like these girls get me. And it was really, really awesome. And about a month into coaching, I had helped 12 people get started on their journey. It was so cool getting those messages on Facebook saying like, Jess, because of you, I've been able to do X, Y, and Z, being able to fit in their clothes again. I mean, I think we all have those clothes in our closet that we haven't been able to fit into in years. And these girls were being able to pull out these clothes and wear them and go on dates and have confidence. And it made me feel really, really good. I worked as a financial analyst, and not once did anyone ever come to my desk and say, Jess, because of you, we were able to do all this stuff. Like, you're making a difference. And with coaching, I felt like I was actually doing something really good, and it gave me purpose. It made me feel good. It filled me up, to be honest. And so we went on our honeymoon that month, and I ended up getting pregnant, which was planned, but it also made you reevaluate your life and go, oh crap, like we're not in a position for me to stay home and, be home with our kids. And so I decided I was going to go all in with this thing. And I worked 60 hours a week. I had an hour and a half commute to work. I mean, on paper, like I did not have time for coaching, but you make time for the things that are a priority to you. And I found like I was willing to do anything in my power to not only do something I love and get out of the job that I didn't like, because I hated my job, and also to be able to do a job I love and be able to stay home with my kids, earn more money. Like it was all perfect. And so that's kind of where I started hustling. And on my commutes to work, I would make calls to my coaches. I would mentor my team. I would listen to personal development, catch up on team calls that I didn't get a chance to see live if I was working. While I worked, I took a lot of bathroom breaks. I started finally taking that lunch break that I always used to just work through because I was just ready to get home. And I actually took a lunch break and I'd walk across the street to the park. And our park, if you did 4 laps, it was like a mile. And I would do like 12 of those. And I would sit there and just do voice memo after voice memo. And I found I could do so many messaging and inviting and catching up with my challengers while I was on my lunch break. And then on my commute home, I would do the same. I'd spend evenings with my family. But I found like, there's that quote that says like, you only get like 970 something Saturdays with your kids. And I just found like I'm not willing to settle for 970 something Saturdays. That's not even 1,000 Saturdays between when my child is born and when they go off to college. I want every day to be Saturdays. And when Ben was born, I had a little boy named Ben, and he's now 3. But for the first year and a half of his life, I was working full time, and my time with him was only in the evenings. And I was so sick and tired of living life through text messages from my family going, oh, he learned how to do this day while you were at work, and he did this, and this. And I remember when I was planning his first birthday party, my mom and I were trying to figure out the time, and she goes, well, what time does he nap? And I actually had to call my mother-in-law and say, what time does my son nap? Because I need to know when to plan the party. And it was like, oh, that was like a dagger through my heart, that it's like I'm around so little because of my job that I don't even know when my child naps. And it was May of 2016. I was able to walk into my job and give my 2 weeks notice at my job. And I will never forget when my boss's jaw dropped to the table and she was like, oh, this coaching thing's actually legit. And it's like, yes, it is. And I was able to quit my job making more than what I was making at my full-time job, where I was pulling in over 6 figures. And I make way more than what I did working full-time, 60 hours a week. And now I get to work at home. I now have 2 little boys, Ben and Mason, 3 years old and 1 year old. And I get to work before they wake up. I get to work during their nap time. But when they are awake, I get to prioritize them. They are my priority. And when Mason took his first steps, I was here. And when the first time he whispered mama and giggled for the first time, I was here. There was no text messages to be had. I was not learning about this while I was at a job I hated. I spent time pursuing something I love so I can be home with the ones I love. And yes, I sacrifice time. Yes, it's a ton of hard work. And yes, I work my tail off, but it is so worth it because I get to be home with my child now. We ended 2017 as number 31 in the company. So we have, out of almost 500,000 teams, like we're doing something being number 31. That means we've helped a ton of people. We are a 3-time elite team, which is huge, means we are in the top 0.00001% of the company, which is a pretty big deal. And our team works really, really hard, and we really are passionate about what we do and the lives that we are changing. So it's a little bit about coaching, a little bit about how it's changed my life. I'm so excited for you guys to listen in this week, and hopefully you will be able to decide if coaching is something that you want to pursue too. It has changed my life in more ways than I can count, giving me more time with my family, given me an income where we've been able to get out of debt and now be able to save. We've been able to purchase our dream house, and it's so nice to have that flexibility. But more importantly, it feels so good to go to bed every night knowing I'm making a difference in this world. I'm doing something I love. I never wake up on Mondays going, oh, it's Monday. Like, I love what I do. I'm excited to work. I'm excited for Monday. I'm excited for when my kids nap so I can come into my office and get some work done and make a difference. It feels really, really amazing. So that's a little bit about my story. I cannot wait to see what you guys learn this week. And if you guys have any questions along the way, please be sure to ask them. We are open books. You can ask us anything. So hope you guys are having a great day. I'll see you later. Bye, you guys.